Now, let's see how to reduce the fraction in lowest term. Or if they ask you to find the simplest form of the fraction, then there are two methods. First, just look into the numerator and denominator of the fraction. The numerator and denominator of the fraction, just check numerator and denominator have the common factor. Is there common factor for numerator and denominator? Yes. There is a common factor. The common factor of both these numbers 2 and 6 are 2. So if it has the common factor, then divide the numerator and denominator by its common factor. So here the common factor is 2. So I am going to take this fraction and divide its numerator and denominator by the common factor. So now 2 divided by 2, it's 1. 6 divided by 2, it's 3. After doing this, you can confirm whether it is in the lowest term or not by checking, is there any common factor for these numerator and denominator? No, there is no common factor. In the sense, we have changed this fraction 2 by 6 to its lowest term 1 by 3. So the lowest term is 1 by 3. So the first step to reduce the fraction to lowest term, just check the common factor of numerator and denominator. Common factor of this 12 and 15, which is a common factor of 12 and 15. Both the numbers comes in 3 tables. So common factor is 3. You can use this common factor to divide this numerator and denominator. So 12 divided by 3, 4, and 15 divided by 3, it's 5. After dividing, just check whether this fraction, in this fraction, the numerator and denominator, did they have any common factor? No. So if there is no common factor for these numerator and denominator, if there is no common factor, then you can say that this fraction is in the lowest term. The lowest term of this is 4 by 5. So to convert, to reduce the fraction in its lowest term, just take the fraction and check the common factor of numerator and denominator. Find out the common factor of numerator and denominator. So the common factor of these numerator and denominator 10 and 15. They are multiples of 5. So it means the common factor of both 10 and 15 is 5. So I am dividing this fraction by its common factor. So 10 divided by 5, it's 2, and 15 divided by 5, it's 3. After doing this, we have to once again check whether there is a common factor for these numerator and denominator. If there is no common factor, then you can say that the fraction has been reduced to its lowest term. Next, 4 by 8. So the common factor of these 4 by 8, the 4 and 8 are 2 and 4. 2 is a common factor as well as 4 is a common factor. So first, if you divide by 2, you'll get 4 divided by 2, and after this, we have to check whether we have changed it to its lowest term or not by finding whether there is a common factor of these two numbers. Yes, there is a common factor for these two numbers. So if there is a common factor for these two numbers, again you have to divide. You should not stop here because this fraction is not in the lowest term. So again we have to reduce to lowest term. For that we have to do the division again. So do the division again by its common factor. Common factor of these two numbers are 2. So continue the division. So 2 divided by 2, and now check whether there is a common factor for these numerator and denominator. No. Then you can say that the fraction has been reduced to lowest term. So now here in this we have did the division 2 times to change to its lowest term. So if there is a doubt for you that how many times we have to do this division to convert to the lowest term, here 2 times. Let's check another question. 48 by 64. So here, if you are choosing a common factor and dividing by it to convert to lowest term, Let's choose the common factor. Common factor of 48 and 64. 2. So if we divide by 2, then it will be 42 by 32. Sorry. 24 by 32. So again, this is not in the lowest term because it's both has a common factor. So it means again you have to do the division. So you'll get 12 by 16. It's not in the lowest term. The fraction is not in the lowest term. So again you have to do division by its common factor. So it's 6 by 8. It's not in the lowest term. So again we have to do the division by its common factor. So it's 3 by 4. So now if you check, there is no common factor for this numerator and denominator. So this is the fraction in the lowest term. So to convert this fraction to its lowest term, we have did the division multiple times. How can we, instead of doing repeated division, there is another way where you can do only division one time to find the lowest term. So that is to this 48 and 64. For this fraction, find the highest common factor. Instead of finding the common factor and doing the division, find the highest common factor of the numerator and denominator. So the highest common factor of numerator and denominator, 48. Let's find the highest common factor of these numbers, 48 and 64. So first, 48 factors. Factors of 48 are 1, 48s are 48. 2, 24s are 48. 3, 16s are 48, 4, 12s are 48, then 6, 8s are 48. So these are the factors of 48. Then for 64, 1, 64s are 64, 2, 32s are 64, then 3 times 3 is not a factor. 4, 16s are 64, 5, it's not a factor, 6, it's not a factor, 7, it's not a factor, 8, 8s are 64. Then 9, it's not a factor, 10, it's not a factor, 11, it's not a factor, 12. So these are the factors, that's it. 64 factors are this one. Now, find the highest common factor. Find the highest common factor of these two numbers. So they are 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. That's it. So these are the common factors. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16 are the common factors. Which is the highest common factor among these? 1, 2, 4, 8 and 16. Which is the highest? It's 16. So the HCF of highest common factor of these numbers are 60. So after finding the highest common factor, just use the highest common factor to divide this numerator and denominator. So if you divide the numerator and denominator by its highest common factor, then instead of doing repeated division, you can find the answer in a single step. So 48 divided by 16, it's 3 times. And 64 divided by 16. 64 divided by 16, it's 4 times. That's it. So, in the first method, by doing this, by using the common factor, if you do the division, then you have to do repeatedly until you get the fraction. You have to do repeated division to get the lowest term. But if you follow this method, that is finding the highest common factor, if you know the highest common factor, then you can do the division only once to change to get the lowest term of the fraction. So these are the two methods. One, by using the common factor. Next, by using highest common factor. Let's see one more example, 24 by 36. How to reduce this fraction to its lowest term. So first, you can take this fraction and divide by its lowest common factor. So common factor of these two, it's 2. It's 12 by 18. Then again you can divide by its common factor because it's not in a lowest term. There is a common factor for it. So you have to go for it. It's 6 by 9. Again, this fraction is not in a lowest term. So you have to do the division by its common factor. So it's 3. Divide by its common factor. Common factor of 6 and 9, it's 3. So if you divide 6 by 3, it's 2 and 3. So now there is no common factor for numerator and denominator. So the lowest term of this fraction is 2 by 3. So this is just step 1. This method 1. Method 1. The another method is finding the lowest term by HCF. So this is the method 2. So if you doing by method 2 for 24 and 36, find the highest common factor. That is method 2. Find the highest common factor of these numbers. So the highest common factor of these numbers 24 and 36. 24. 1 24s are 24. 2 12s are 24. 3 8s are 24. 4 6 are 24. That's it. Then for 36, 1 36 are 36, 2 18s are 36, 3 12s are 36, 4 9s are 36, and 6 6 are 36. So now the highest common factor. Let's find the common factors first. 1 2 3 4 6 and 12. They are the common factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12 are the common factors. Highest common factor is the highest amount, which is 12. So after finding highest common factor, take this highest common factor and divide the numerator and denominator by this highest common factor, HCF. So 24 divided by 12 is 2 and 36 divided by 12. So these are the two methods to reduce the fraction in lowest term. First method, by using the common factor, divide by using the common factor. Second method, divide by using the highest common factor.